3rd and 17. He's out. That is William Gay picking it up. It may have been an incompletion. Gay is in for a touchdown. Sanchez is still down.
Welcome back to 5-Star Rewind. If you like what we do, don't be shy about clicking that subscribe button right now. And if you're feeling fancy, turn on notifications so you don't miss any uploads. The New York Jets, the Pittsburgh Steelers. In the AFC Championship game? Boy, times sure have changed, haven't they? The Jets found themselves in a second straight championship game while the Steelers look to go to their second Super Bowl in 3 years. Let's take a trip back in time to the last time either of these two teams sniffed any true success. It's the 2010 AFC Championship game. Here comes the man himself, the trusty and not yet rusty gunslinger Big Ben Roethlisberger, who's making his 4th appearance in the conference championship in just 7 seasons. Start this one off with an on-the-money 3rd down conversion to the once leader of the Young Money crew, Mike the Newsman Wallace, who wasn't the one-trick pony Mike once implied he was. Big theme of this night, and maybe a slap in the face to those who forgot how nifty Large Benjamin once was in the pocket, looks to be a failed play, but in classic number 7 fashion, he improvises and gets himself hurt in the process. This one's for the crowd who always says Rashard Mendenhall sucked, a hypothesis I've roundly rejected. Here he overcomes noted terrible player Chris Kimoyatu in his lap and rips off a chunk against the number 3 defense in the league. You love to see it. Check out this sick almost catch by the man himself, Heath, on a ball that's just slightly overthrown by Ben. Refs questionably overturn it as Ben gimps over to the sideline. As you know, he doesn't even start playing until he's hurt. And on 3rd and 12, we find out how bad that pre-arthritic knee is feeling, and the reality is it feels pretty damn great for the old gunslinger. Would you look at this fucking scramble? Patrick Mahoo? Pump fake status? Legendary. And hey, Steeler fans, am I making you miss great quarterback play already, or what? Hines comes up just short as Pouncey limps off, an ominous sign for later, but right now it's 1st and goal and it's a handoff to Rashard for a feisty second effort touchdown, and the Steelers are on the board first after a dominant first drive. Steelers 7, Jets nothing. Get that shit out of here. Big Snack doing big snack things, and man, could the current version of the Steelers use a player like Casey Hampton. A criminally underrated piece of this 2000s Steelers D. See, if I was an offense trying to run the ball, I'd probably try to block James Harrison. But you know, feel free to, not. 3rd and 13, and look at the way Ike attacks this play. They just don't make cornerbacks like this anymore. Absolutely nothing came easy against this LeBeau defense. Hater's gonna ball because it's another pair of nice plays for Rashard Mendenhall, who is putting this team on his back early and would finish the day with 27 carries for 121 yards and debatably the best game of his career, and we head into the second after a speedy first. Gotta put this one to illustrate the little ways the game has changed over the years. Peep this hit directly to the head of Emmanuel Sanders that of course gets flagged, but not the sort of thing you see too often anymore. Football is still a blood sport, no doubt, but I guess maybe it's gotten a little better? Jets D stands strong on 3rd and 1, forcing the Steelers to go for it in no man's land, but the timing gets disrupted on what was actually a perfect play call and Ben gets picked. Would have been a turnover on downs if incomplete anyway, but you hate to see a wasted good play call. In 2022, we don't even get to see good play calls, let alone wasted ones. Okay, in case you forgot, James Harrison was, incredible. 3rd and 13, and obviously scared of a big hit in the -5 weather, the Ayatollah of wide receiving Jericho Cotchery drops one and it's back to the Steelers offense. Nah, son, I don't think I will be tackled. Mendenhall shoots through a lane you could drive a literal bus through, and would you look at the blocking by Heath, Sanders, and of course Hines here? Man, it wasn't that long ago, but the deeper we get into this game, the more it feels like an entirely different sport than what we're watching today. Another good short yardage conversion, this time by Ike Redmond, and I put this one just to point out, this was not a good O-line at all. And they're playing a great defense, and running all over them? What's stopping the modern Steelers from doing this? Shouts to BA. 3rd and goal now, and I think maybe we have another example of how things have changed in the league. Thankfully this one is batted because otherwise it's probably a Revis pick. What are you looking at, Ben? But the Steelers choose to take the chip shot field goal and a 10-0 lead. I'm not sure how many coaches in 2022 wouldn't try going for it on 4th year, especially with a good defense. Except, of course, probably the same one making this call. Back to the Jets, and it's more nothing for the Sanchez, who throws an almost pick, but of course, as per usual, Ryan Clark was more interested in lighting a dude up than looking for the ball, and it's back to the Steelers again. Ryan was a great player and all, but he'd have twice as many career INTs if he didn't have this fatal flaw, in my humble opinion. I just got to reiterate for the young ones out there and those that forgot. Look at what this man used to do when he still had knees. You can keep your Patrick Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers, I don't care. Ben was as good as anyone's ever been at scrambling and keeping his eyes downfield. Miss that man in his prime. What was I saying about number 7? Oh yeah, he was really fucking good. Absolute rope to Emmanuel Sanders, who for whatever reason felt the need to complain about Ben after he left, which I never understood because all Sanders ever did here was get hurt and passed on the depth chart by a certain 6th rounder from the same draft. Anybody remember who that guy was? Completely in rhythm now, Large Benjamin swings this one out to Mendenhall, and the Steelers are knocking on the door of making this one a blowout. And I'm not sure you've ever heard me say that in the 4 painful years I've been doing this show. Lamar could never. Easy rushing touchdown for Visor Ben, who laughs at the defense as he propels the Steelers to a near insurmountable 17-0 lead. And this is exactly why I chuckle whenever people say the current Steelers D is anything approaching great. Had to put this one in from my guy Lamar Woodley, another underrated beast from this era of Steelers D. Debo gets the hype, and justifiably so, but man, I don't know if the Steelers have ever had another tandem quite like this. Okay, I lied, Greg Lloyd and Kevin Green, but certainly not since. Ryan Clark and headhunting instead of looking for the ball. Name a more iconic duo. 3rd and 17, and it might as well be 3rd and 100, because you know the Jets have no chance to convert. And not only do they not convert, but Sanchez gets strip sacked on a quarter blitz by Ike, and it's recovered by who else but Big Play Gay, who is magnetically attracted to the end zone. And don't look now, but the Pittsburgh Steelers are absolutely stomping the New York Jets, 24-0. With the Steelers content to play soft and smart, Sanchez finally mounts a last-second drive that almost ends in disaster. For all we ever loved about Ike, catching was never his strong suit. And they take the field goal to make it 24-3 at half. Hey there, and thanks for checking out this episode of 5-Star Rewind. If you like the show and the work we do, please consider supporting the show by becoming a member today. Not only does Roger Goodell insist on making players play on 3 days rest, he also insists on taking our ad revenue. But hey, as long as you keep watching, we're good. Now roll the game. As you can see, the Steelers roundly decimated the Jets in the first half, and you gotta imagine with a great D and Mark Sanchez on the other side, this one's all but over, right? Not so fast. Remember Sean Green? Great run by number 23, who unfortunately hurts his knee on the end of the play here, but the Jets are out of the hole and on the move. Man, remember run defense? Woodley sheds 2 blockers like they weren't even there and eats this play alive before Tomlinson even has a chance to get started. Sanchez hits Braylon Edwards for a crucial conversion, though, to keep the Jets moving. On 1st and 10, it's a designed rollout for the Sanchez, and the vaunted Steelers D gets cooked by the very same man who just a couple years prior helped them win a championship, Santonio Holmes. Steelers 24, Jets 10. Ruh-roh. Almost picked by Benjamin here, who's looking for the soon-to-be Mr. Big Chest, and it's the biggest bullet dodge I've seen that didn't happen in Plexico Burress's sweatpants. Doy moment by the Jets keeps the drive alive when they rough Jeremy Kapanos, who I guarantee you did not remember was a Steeler. 3rd and 6, and Ben sings "So I Creep." Yeah, as he hits the creeper Moeldy Moore in stride, and he hangs on through this vicious hit. Loved Moeldy. Ben's rolling and slinging and throwing a bad pick. Bad decision and worse throw by Ben here, who would have had a chance to get it to an open Sanders if he'd thrown it a second earlier, but it's picked by Poole for what essentially amounts to a punt. Not great, but not killer. Time for the Steelers D to get back to work. And back to work they get. Jets go nowhere and punt it right back to Ben and the boys. These wheels, though. That's my quarterback. Would you just look at what this man was capable of back in the day? Remember it. Respect it. Ben was never fast, but he always knew when and where to scramble. Line absolutely collapses on 3 straight plays, though, and this drive is deader than Rex Ryan's head coaching career. Because you know it can never be that easy, Sanchez gets him going with a throw on a line to Edwards, and we head into the 4th and final stanza. More play action and more chunks for the Jets, who are suddenly moving the ball at will. Can we all just take a moment and appreciate how much ground Troy covers on this play? And not only does he make the tackle, but he absolutely lays the wood and leaves no doubt about it on this receiver's screen. There's nothing I can say about Polamalu that hasn't been said before, but the guy just had a knack for the angles of football that few have ever possessed. By the way, yeah, it's cold. You want to talk about forgotten great players? How about this freaking stick by Potsy, aka James Ferrier, who I'd felt had lost a half step by 2010, but was still a fantastic fundamental player who, like everyone on this D, just knew exactly what they were doing. I guess maybe they had a good coordinator or something? Jets convert just barely on 4th, and this is about the time to start leaning forward in your chair. Yeah, gonna go ahead and guess this one isn't on RC's highlight reel. Youch. Woodley almost nabs a pick on 3rd and goal, and that sets up a gotta have it 4th down for the Jets.
Drive, a must right now. Straight ahead, second chance, push back, and no! A goal line stand by the Steelers.
This is old school football. Flip side of that, though, is the ball's at the half-yard line, and the Steelers have a backup center in, and oof. Ben can't handle the snap and is left with no other option but to fall on it and keep it to a safety instead of a defensive touchdown, and suddenly this thing is getting way too hairy for a game that was once 24-0. Great play by Sanchez to escape the pressure by Woodley and hit Braylon Edwards on the sideline with a really good throw. People clown on Sanchez all the time, and while he wasn't great, I can't ever knock a guy who started his career with 2 straight conference championship appearances, even if he had great things around him. Suddenly, it's the Braylon Edwards show, and the Jets are knocking. 2nd and goal, and it's an obvious but not called pick play by the Jets to get Cotchery free, and he scores to make it Steelers 24, Jets 19, with 3 minutes to go. Are you breathing heavily yet? Hey, who was returning kickoffs for the Steelers in 2010? Anybody remember? I'm a believer that some dudes have it. 84 always had it. Big return to get the Steelers past the 40. Facing a 2nd and 8, Large Benjamin fires and finds the man they call who makes a fantastic catch on a ball that's behind him, and that sets up our 5-star
play of the game.
Sideline receivers looks like they're going to throw it. He's surprised. Yeah. And they are looking throw. Now, Roethlisberger in trouble. Throws in. What a catch. The catch to clinch it. In all likelihood, Brown, who had the big one last week, the lone gainer to set up the winner, this time picks up the first down. Picks up 14.
With 2 minutes on the clock and no timeouts left for the Jets, and in what would be a crystal ball moment for what we'd see in the next decade, Large Benjamin makes as much time as he possibly can and fires a seed to the man himself, Antonio Brown, who obviously snags it and locks this one down for the boys in black and gold. A true heavyweight fight with an awesome and commendable comeback by the Jets, but the Steelers are able to outlast them and make the plays when it counted. This shot of Rex Ryan slamming his headset down is one of the most iconic moments of this era of Steelers football, and something I remember like it happened yesterday. A couple snaps and a few thrusts later, and the Pittsburgh Steelers are on the way to their second Super Bowl appearance in 3 years, as Mike Tomlin's playoff record goes to 5-1, with 5 wins in a row. An unbelievable start for the young head coach, who I'm sure will win tons more of these in the next decade. Until then, here we go. And around. If you're still here, please consider becoming a member on YouTube. There's a button below, or joining us up on Patreon at patreon.com/5SMU. We'd appreciate the support, but if you can't, just make sure you keep watching. Catch you next week.